episode 170 of the TV Dudes podcast, recorded February 8th, 2018. Making jokes! We're back, guys. Hey, what's going on?
There was nothing funnier to me than Grant making a funny fake laugh.
I wish you guys could see the faces. Like, we got so many great faces happening right now.
Oh, man. Yeah, so this week we're going to be talking about a bunch of comedies. Hence the title of the
Making
episode.
jokes.
Making jokes.
We also could have gone with Y'all Got Jokes, huh?
Yeah,
I wanted to suggest Chuckle Fucker, based off of the Hannibal Buress episode of High Maintenance last year, where he called his girlfriend a Chuckle Fucker because she hooks up with all the comedians.
Is that us?
That's also...
No, Chuckle Fucker's too edgy for us.
Yeah. Chuckle Fucker, by the way, is also my fairite Hershey's candy. It's got the nougat in it. It's pretty great.
Oh, does it? Is that nougat? You sure it's nougat?
God. That wasn't even candy.
Oh, Randy. They've never come out with that.
I've made a horrible mistake.
It's like Homer Simpson with Skittlebrow. Mr. Simpson. We have never had that in the store.
What?
Guys, we are the TV Dudes. I'm Grant.
I'm apparently eating candy that's not candy, and I'm Randy.
And I'm Kyle Scott, not Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This week we're talking about two shows on HBO. High Maintenance is back for its second season, and Two Dope Queens has just debuted on the home box office station. Is it station network?
It's not TV. That's all I know. It's not TV.
It's not TV.
But we're covering it on the TV Dudes.
We are.
That's true.
And over on NBC, we're going to be talking about AP Bio, the brand new Glenn Howerton. It's basically Dennis Reynolds.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I know how you guys feel about this show without even talking about it.
And then The Good Place is just finished its second season, and we're going to be recapping what we got to see over the second season.
Yeah.
But before we get into all that, like I said, we are the TV Dudes, and if you want to help us out, please go over to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, write a little review. There, we will check that out, and we will read it here on the show, as long as it's a 5-star rating. Don't bullshit us with a 4 or 3.
It was 4 stars. We're not reading shit.
Yeah. Asshole. Fictional asshole person.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily getting angry about. Also, you guys can help support us by going over to patreon.com/TV Dudes, and there you can make a per episode pledge. Give us $1 or $2 an episode if you like what you're hearing, and that's a wonderful way to help support this show that you love, and we appreciate it. We try to put it to good use. We use that to continue investing in the podcast itself.
And there's bonus episodes every week.
Yeah, we do little bonus episodes. We're going to talk about, what are we talking about this week? Curtains?
Possibly curtains.
Yeah, we might talk about like our favorite drapery.
Yeah, Grant's just looking around the studio right now, by the way. We did not discuss ahead of time what we were going to... Yeah, so that was just off the cuff. But we might. I'm thinking, I kind of want to talk about the Venom teaser and how terrible it was.
Oh, we could do that.
Yeah.
Guy, you already got me hooked on curtains. I have some ideas.
It's gonna be a debate after the episode. But let's go ahead and jump into some listener questions. If you guys like us on Facebook, once a week, Randy puts up a post. You guys can ask us whatever you want, really. First question, though, comes to us from Jonathan Haftemichael, who says, I've been digging the assassination of Gianni Versace. I think I always say Giovanni. I want Giovanni Ribisi dead, I guess. American Crime Story so far. But one recurring commercial for an upcoming FX show has been on my mind. Trust. The series covers the kidnapping of John Paul Getty III, which unfortunately comes after the great Ridley Scott film, All the Money in the World. Can you dudes think of any other good TV series that coincidentally cover the same subject in a recent movie?
I had what I thought was a good answer, but I think there's a few years separation in here, but I'm going to take a stab at it.
Sure.
The King's Speech came out, which was amazing. I think it won the Oscar that year.
I think it did, too.
For Best Picture.
Yeah.
Then a few years later, The Crown came out, and when you watch them side by side, I mean, it's like it picks up the story right where, I mean, not right where The King's Speech left off.
That'd be weird.
But pretty much, like, it's a pretty good continuity. And
you see like very familiar things. I think once you saw the King's Speech, you're like, oh, I know so much more about this character.
Exactly.
All of a sudden, it fills in the blanks.
yeah.
I think it's weird that The Good Place came out and there was just like a few, like maybe 2 decades between that and What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams. They're just like 2 decades. I mean, it's really close.
I mean, the inspiration's there.
They're both about the afterlife.
I saw this show on TV called Lethal Weapon. I believe it's based off of
No, that is weird. Yeah, that they would just name it the same thing.
Yeah.
Grant, I know you're not watching Lethal Weapon.
This is true. Alec Miracle says, has anyone noticed how 97% of the fathers on Lost were either complete dicks, like Son's dad, assholes, Charles Widmore? I'd like to delve more into the distinction between dicks and assholes here.
Grant, if you don't know, I don't think you want to go experimenting there.
Bad fathers, Christian Shepherd, or just non-existent douchebags. Who is your favorite TV dad or least favorite?
Before we answer the question, the first question, has anyone noticed? Yeah, there's clearly some father issues going on in Lost. It's very, very much a part of the show.
There's even an episode, all the good cowboys have daddy issues.
Yes, and apparently all the TV writers in the world, because there's daddy issues. Once you start noticing it, it's on every TV show.
So much character development comes from the problem in the relationship between them and their parents, and primarily their fathers.
So, in answering this question, I went looking for BuzzFeed. I went looking for best TV dads. BuzzFeed has an article from 2014.
Oh, I can answer this for you.
Oh yeah.
I would say Bill Huxtable is one of the best, and Bill Cosby is one of the worst.
Well, in 2014, Bill Cosby took the top spot.
As best dad.
Yeah, and Louis C.K. is on that list too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
But what did remind me of, somebody who's on the list, is Keith Mars from Veronica Mars.
You love Veronica Mars.
I do, and he's one of the best daddy-daughter relationships in TV. It's great.
I feel like he lets his daughter get into some fucked up shit like every single week.
He gives her a taser and a dog. It's all good. He lets her be a private eye. It's great. He's a great dad.
You shouldn't be a
I'm wondering
private eye.
who was writing Johnny Quest, because Johnny Quest dad was awesome. He was a scientist. He had cool like jetpacks, and then Johnny always had to save him.
Dr. Venture was fantastic. He was a great dad to
also on the list, Walter White. Probably one of the worst dads, I think.
Not a good dad.
Not ideal.
Did you see the car he got him? No,
That's true. He did get him a sweet car. I mean, his wife made him return it, and then he blew it up.
Don
That's
Draper has got to be a pretty shitty father. I feel like he doesn't really even know who his kids are.
When you look at Don Draper's fathering, you're like, oh, I'm scared to see what those kids are going to turn into, like weird alcoholic sex addicts.
How about Joe from The Flash, Jesse L. Martin? He's a great dad.
Yeah.
He's a good dad.
He's a pretty solid dad. He's a great dad to both his kids, his daughter, his son that he didn't really know about.
Right, who got married to each other, which isn't weird at all.
Well, no, I meant his son.
Oh, his son.
Wally,
yeah.
and
he's a
Barry, his adopted son. They got married. In the show,
Wally and Iris got married, didn't they? Or they were about to. Yeah.
No, not Wally and Iris.
Not Wally and Iris. That'd
Barry
be
and
weirder.
Iris.
Barry and Iris.
We're going back and forth.
It's not that much weirder. I mean, they were raised alongside each other. They were basically siblings. It's weird.
To be fair, the Flash goes back and forth through time.
Right.
So it's possible that Wally married his sister, too.
That's true. Also, time travel makes incest okay. I guess.
It's a Game of Thrones rule, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
Enough time travel into the future, and we just kind of forget that Jamie Lannister, whatever.
That went to a weird place.
Hey, what's our next question here? Let's just jump ahead. Jonathan Upnagel says, Dear TV dudes, Altered Carbon is gorgeous. I'm slowly making my way through as I want to savor it like a fine wine. With Star Trek wrapping up this weekend, I am left thinking about future fantasy. Excluding TV comedies, what other shows do you think would make good adaptations into future worlds? It doesn't need to be space fantasy like The Expanse. Rather, imagine if in, say, 10 years from now, we remade or made a sequel to a series. However, it would be set in some kind of futuristic world rather than modern day.
I want to see The Wire 2050. All cyberpunk The Wire.
Wow. Would it be the wire? Would they even have wires?
No, nobody has wire. Everything's wireless. It's the wireless.
Yeah,
The wireless.
The Wi-Fi.
It'd be like the signal or
Yes,
something.
yeah, the Signal. Actually, the Signal's a cool notion that's a cool name, Grant. You should pitch that.
I'd watch this show.
Right?
Oh, it's probably like 3 movies.
Yeah. It's a movie that has 3 parts, I believe.
Yeah.
The Signal.
But the Signal should be the name of the future Intel cops.
Okay. This
Yeah,
weekend
I like
rad.
it. I like it.
The Signal.
What are you thinking?
I don't got a good one.
Lethal Weapon 2050. We're still too old for this shit, and now we're cyborgs.
Actually, no, that's an awful idea. I was going to say, what if you took Star Trek, but they were like, you put them back and they were pirates? Like, on sea voyaging
go the
ships?
other way.
Yeah, but they kind of do that on the holodeck every
true.
now and then.
You want like Breaking Bad in the future where he's making like
Space meth.
space
He's selling space meth to Martians.
I love how it's like, we don't really have to upgrade this. We'll just put the word space in front of it and people will know it's futuristic.
What if you mashed up Guardians of the Galaxy with Breaking Bad, where it was like the spectacle of Guardians of the Galaxy with the those scary parts of Breaking Bad?
Scarface of the future. Space Scarface.
Space Scarface.
Scarspace.
Yeah. That's what Thanos should be. Thanos should feel like the cartels or
he should
Walter White at the end of it.
Swing out his gauntlet and be say hello to my little friend.
So we got another question here from Paul Mampilli, who says, so 2 Dope Queens and Lore have started as podcasts, which are now TV shows. Which podcast would you like to see become TV shows? And he already anticipates that our answer is going to be, the TV dudes.
He just says, accept your own. Good call, because that would have been my first answer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We want TV money, guys.
If they hadn't shit the bed with their ending, I would have loved to seen the Black Tapes, but the Black Tapes had a really terrible ending.
Did you guys see the news today? I don't think I forgot to include this in the news because it just happened. Mm-hmm. But Crooked Media, Pod Save America,
I saw that.
They're going to have a little mini series of them touring around Pod Tours America.
Yeah.
That's going to be on HBO.
And that's cool. I like that idea. You know, this is a weird one. They had that short-lived show based on Dan Savage's life on I think it was like CBS. It was not great.
Yeah.
But if they did a Frasier-esque take on the Savage Lovecast, where it's like him and his producer taking weird sex calls and then going out and having his Dan Savage is a fascinating guy. He runs an amateur porn festival and he's on NPR and goes on talk shows. I would love a fictionalized version of that dude's life that sort of mixes in the sex call-in show. You'd have to do it on HBO or Cinemax, but I think that'd be great.
Oh, definitely on one of those networks.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I saw Tom Arnold out there the other day. You guys remember Tom Arnold, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, he is still kicking, and he has a podcast. And I got to say, that man is delightful, still to this day. I would totally love to see his podcast turned into a TV show.
Kooky bug nuts, though, isn't he?
Is he kookier than Roseanne?
He has settled down. He has settled down since back.
He's the one who keeps claiming that he has the most damaging Trump info, and if only he can figure out a way to upload it and safely and not ruin.
No. His exact quote was, "There's better tapes. Trust me. My tapes are good. They're not that good. There's better tapes out there." That's what he said.
It's just that he's been dangling this BS tape thing. I don't know for attention. It's just give me a break.
I also like there's one that's it's NPR's story, but it's for the internet. Gimlet does it. Reply All. And they just that is an anthology show on TV. I think would be really interesting.
Ooh, better yet, mystery show.
Oh, mystery
from
show
them too, where what's her name?
Starly Kine. There it is.
Starly Kine?
Yeah.
She goes and investigates mysteries that people have written in questions for her. So it's kind of like this little detective series where she goes and hunts down very obscure things on the internet for people.
But Gimlet canceled that show brutally.
Did they? I thought she just did a little 6-episode run. And
no,
she
talked about it, and she was like, "Yeah, they canceled my show."
Ah, that's too bad.
It was really good.
I thought it was a cute, charming little show.
Yeah.
Oh well. That's not happening. Nick Ty says, "Hey dudes, I'm a little scared to go back and watch some of my favorite cop shows in this current climate. Do you think watching the cops from The Shield getting away with police brutality will be harder to swallow? I mean, even Justified features a protagonist that learned a quick draw so he would shoot people with less scrutiny put on him because maybe the bad guy drew first."
Now, Justified you can because it's him shooting basically a bunch of white racists, and we all want to see more of that.
Yeah, that gets a pass.
But The Shield, yeah, he may be right. That might be. Then again, The Shield was never about the good guys.
The Shield was that they hide behind the shield and do bad things.
Yeah. You were never supposed to be identifying with those dudes. You were supposed to identify enough to like find them interesting protagonists. But the point of the shield was these guys are terrible.
Like even Dutch ends up kind of doing bad things.
Yeah.
He corrupts. He strangles cats in alleyways so that he can learn what a serial killer's thinking.
Just that one time.
Just once.
Just
dabbled in some light animal mutification.
It was a mild strangulation of a cat.
I mean, it died.
Pick a clawed animal to test that one out on, right?
What about a hamster?
I know.
That's weird. Sorry. Next question. Kyle Volte says, I say that no show has been able to blow up its premise nearly as good as The Good Place. What shows would you want The Good Place showrunners to change up, and what would the show be after they're done?
This Is Us. Go through and make This Is Us a very different show.
Why?
Just because I'd be curious what they'd do with it. Because This Is Us has such a straightforward premise, and I'd love to see, like, it turns into a thing where it's like they're all bounty hunters and like just completely, totally changes the premise.
I feel like I love that This Is Us is around because it is a show that I'm not interested in, and it just takes a group of people and puts them over and puts their focus on that. And I have my thing over here. Like, you guys got your This Is Us. You go do that. That's cool. I'm going to be over here enjoying all my news.
You know, in thinking about like shows that blow up a premise, okay, this is totally off the cuff, but in the film, you guys saw Memento, right?
Yep.
Where they tell the story in reverse because the main character, he's got a memory disorder, so he can't remember. So you never know more than 10 minutes of the story.
Right.
Well, I was thinking, what if you had a show with a premise like that where the main character has some type of memory disorder, almost along the lines of like a 50 First Dates, where every day you wake up and it's different, but every episode the cast changes, the setting changes, what he does for a living. So it's like the same person and they remember all the previous episodes, but every time they wake up, every new episode, it's completely different.
You could do something similar with a con artist show where it's like the guy is lying so effectively that he even believes himself, and so that changes every time.
Ah.
The Pretender.
The Pretender.
Yes. Signal the Pretender.
I'm trying to think of some other show that if those guys took it over, they could just like really work their magic into it.
Are there any sort of like okay comedies? I mean, we don't watch a lot of okay comedies.
Like, what if we took like one that we just don't like The Big Bang Theory? Here, you have a bunch of nerdy dudes living in a room together. What can you do? I bet suddenly one of them would get really good and invent something crazy that
invent a world changing, become like the Elon Musk type.
Yeah, or that like allows them to like open up a portal to another world. It goes a little bit more Rick and Morty or something.
Or you Galaxy Quest it and it turns out it's all real and they become the crew of a starship.
See?
I'd still hate it.
See, I feel like Mike Schur would just turn it into a behind-the-scenes making of, where then they play characters of the actors who they're playing, and everyone's just a dickhead, totally different from the actual show.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's what you'd do.
All right, last question comes to us from our buddy Jedi Cypher, who says, TV dudes, I'm watching Waco, love it by the way, and I can't help but be totally sold on Taylor Kitsch's performance. My question to you is this. What actor or actress gave a performance you never thought was previously possible? Please name the show or movie as well.
Kirsten Dunst in Fargo season 2 kind of blew me away. She brought a level of that I think she hadn't done. She'd done it before, but she hadn't done it in a long time.
Matthew Lillard in what was that Border show?
Oh yeah, shit! I'd forgot about that. The Bridge.
On FX.
Yeah.
I was like, that's Matthew Lillard, and he's really good. And he also like came back onto the scene after being like the goofy dude in Scream and and Scooby-Doo. He was Shaggy in the Scooby-Doo movies.
Mm-hmm.
He came back with The Descendants, which was written by the bald guy.
Mr. Dane.
Jim Rash.
Jim Rash from Community. And he was great in that. In just a very small part, it's like a boyfriend.
Yeah.
But then, like, seeing him pop back in the Bridge, he was really good.
He's going to be in this new thing, The Bad Girls, or it's Joanne from Mad Men. What is that actress's name? Hendricks?
Oh,
Kristen Hendricks, yeah.
Yeah, so she has a new show that the premise is her and her other middle-class housewife friends, they rob a convenience store or something.
Yeah, the cast looks great.
Yeah. But no, I believe Matthew Lillard, he's playing either the husband or the brother of her character. So we'll see if that show's any good.
Yeah, I was turned around and went, oh, that guy can actually act if he tries.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I liked him in Scream.
I don't know what I'm complaining about then. I do want to say that as we go into the break here, our buddy Jedi Cypher, who just asked that question, just released a new album, and he was asking if we might consider playing some on here, and I'm happy to oblige. The new album is called Alice. You can check it out on his SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/Cypher Music. That's PSYFER Music. First song we're going to play is going to be Neon Rain. Check it out.
Left the club with it in my veins. High people hazing in neon rain. On lag, so I'm dropping frames. Send a text for a reboot, I'm in the game. EA, nigga, with the replay. Nigga, still CK, nigga, reppin' BK, nigga, Eastside, nigga. Going reppin' to the death. Throwing up the diamond, shining on triple threat. Always looking for a bet, for Becky to keep it wet. If I'm losing no respect, no, I got an X stacking up to make you niggas back out. But I digress. Looking for a nigga to sprout, well, I got next. Never growing up, but always showing up to get a check. If you're looking for a nigga, the motto, here go the specs. Raw and 04, lyrically seesaw. Now back to the future, float on parkour. I'm jumping, yeah. Fist pumping, yeah. Beat dumping, yeah. It's something, yeah.
Did you guys hear that there was a big football game on Sunday?
How big?
Big, like ginormous, like extraordinary, like there's a name for it.
The humongous
Humongous
plate?
Did this come on TV?
It was on TV.
Well, I guess we got to talk about it then.
Yeah, it is. It was the Spectacular Bowl, I think. Yeah.
This sounds familiar.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, there were commercials on there.
Yeah?
And 2 of them were for TV shows. And we talk about TV. So I was like, let's talk about TV.
Yeah.
So those trailers were Castle Rock coming up on Hulu.
I saw it.
Yep, me too, although not on TV.
I've seen it.
And then Westworld had got its season 2 opener trailer. So we should talk about those.
Okay, Westworld wins it between these two.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a bigger...
That Westworld trailer was fantastic. And the music they have playing in there.
Yep.
What was it? It's from Kanye's My Twisted Dark Fantasy.
Yeah.
So good.
That's Ramin Djawadi did all that stuff from the first season too, where he like remixed modern stuff with like the player piano style, and man, that guy is so good.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about that. The Castle Rock one I thought was pretty interesting. I was just seeing like all the cast that's in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people.
Like Sissy Spacek is scary just looking at her. Like I'm already like, oh man, it's Sissy Spacek. I like get nervous.
Yep.
Because she's always in like some stuff that's just like intense.
Yeah.
So yeah. But seeing the lead dude was the guy from The Nick. I was pretty excited about.
That's right.
I'm like, oh okay, I love him on The Nick. And the music that they use in the background of that as well, it sort of reminded me of Texas Chainsaw Massacre when they did that trailer for the remake a while back, and it was like all the picture going ka-ching, ka-ching, and like all the flashes of horror. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it doesn't do that exactly, but it's got like this weird swing, swing, swing kind of like noise in the background.
I think for our Patreon this week, we should make you do sound effects for 20 minutes.
And then go
just very unsettling. Like the theme song for Heath Ledger's Joker was literal razors on like aluminum metal, and they use that to make the sounds like just kind of like like eerie and unearthing noises.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to both these shows. I mean, obviously Westworld. We all loved Westworld.
Yeah,
but Castle Rock is showing promise. Hulu's been good lately.
Agreed.
All right. Did you guys hear that Brian Fuller's leaving another show? I swear to God, this guy gets announced for like 5 shows and winds up doing 1.
Brian Fuller's playing a Brian Fuller.
Yeah, so
that just must be his game, right?
I guess so.
Cast the net wide.
He has officially exited Amazing Stories, Apple's reboot of the TV series.
Like, what is he even attached to anymore? He's gone from American Gods. He had to walk away from Star Trek.
Yep.
He had to walk away from this project now. At a certain point, I think we all also need to address that perhaps Brian Fuller's a problem.
It may be. Well, he's currently working on the Vampire Chronicles TV show.
Oh.
But the problem is, Brian Fuller, everything he's done, I've really enjoyed. So I'll follow him everywhere he goes, even though he abandons half his projects.
Well, abandons or
is pushed off.
There's other people involved in all this stuff, but
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it is. It does make you wonder. Like, his stuff is so good, but what's the result of that? Like, does he have to piss people off in the process,
or does he have? I mean, I know with Star Trek it was budgetary issues. Actually, American Gods was budgetary issues.
It sort of reminds me of Dan Harmon is a great example of one of those people you just constantly hear what a difficult person they apparently are to work with, and you get genius out of them. But they tried to fire him quite a few times, or they had, at one point they did, and then they ended up bringing him back. And you can look at the relationship he had with Chevy Chase. Mm-hmm. That was bad. He apparently treated one of his female writers terribly.
Yep.
But he did this pre-sincere apology for it. But it's just some of these people. Maybe when we jump to these conclusions of defending our favorite creators, oh no, they're great. Maybe behind the scenes, they aren't so great.
It's possible. Well, they say that Hart Hansen from Bones might be taking over as showrunner, which I don't know, man. I don't think we need an anthology and amazing stories done by Hart Hansen.
Yeah, who?
No, thank you.
It's like they gave the reins of American Gods to someone else, and I was just like, who?
Yeah. They sound okay. It sounds all right.
They've established the visual, so I guess maybe handing it off, it can be okay, but it's just not going to be the same thing.
Well, when you tell me that there was budget stuff involved, when the effects got bad on American Gods, they were like the Sci-Fi Channel bad.
Yeah, and maybe that was what happened. Is maybe he pushed for that. I don't know. Yeah. Hey, we need better effects.
They had some really good effects, especially in the beginning.
Yeah,
but I want to say definitely in that last episode where they did some. Where they had the same character repeated multiple times in the frame, that started to look kind of patched together, or that they had done it maybe faster or something.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, you guys excited for that new HBO TV show, Confederate? It's going to be all about what if slavery continued on in the 21st century?
Oh, man, I know where you're going with this.
Because they killed that. You know how I like to make fun of Screen Rant for their writing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, I have to give them credit on this one. Their lead for this story is David Benioff and D.B. Weiss's new HBO TV show Confederate may have just taken a lightsaber to the gut thanks to their involvement in a new Star Wars movie series. That's stupid, but it's good writing. That's good. I like it. So when they announced that those guys were doing a Star Wars trilogy, I was excited for two reasons. One was, yay, Benioff and Weiss Star Wars. That sounds great to me. And yay, probably Confederate is dead, because that's a terrible idea.
Yeah. It just seemed like the fan reaction was pretty immediate and decisive on whether or not they should do Confederate, and they'd already invested what sounded like a lot of money into it. So being able to find another project that allows them to be like, I'm sorry, we got really busy with this other one, how can we walk away from it?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But what's weird is that they are going to focus the entire trilogy on the slavery of the Sand People. It's all going to be on Tatooine. That's going to be a prequel about Anakin's mom and all the other slaves.
I saw something about how someone was like, oh, look at all the diversity they've finally been putting into Star Wars. And then someone else was like, but not in the director's chair.
This is true.
All white dudes.
That's actually true.
Yep. So, hey, congrats to those two white dudes.
I do wish the announcement read, they will do a trilogy if the first one is good. Because that's what's going to happen. If the first one's awful, bye-bye,
no,
guys.
I don't know about that. I mean, there were 3 prequel movies.
Well, but look who was in charge of those.
That's true.
Look at how much money it's still fucking making.
That's the thing is, even if it's bad, it's Star Wars. It's going to make its money back.
That's true.
So speaking of Star Wars, Lucasfilm is developing multiple new Star Wars series for TV. So they're doing a live-action TV series ready for 2019 where Disney's going to launch its own streaming service. Jesus, man, we're going to have to pay for the Disney one and the Warner Brothers one. And there's a whole lot of other stuff in the works. So there's an animated series that'll take the place of Star Wars Rebels, which who knows what timeline that'll be. Be curious to see what they do with that, because every animated series they've done, Clone Wars and Rebels, have both been really, really good. So I'm excited to see what they do that. And then beyond that, we don't really know, but it's clear that there are some other shows coming. Disney chairman and CEO Bob Iger said, "There's not just one, but a few Star Wars series in development for the small screen." So I'm excited. I want to see more Star Wars universe. I'm good with it.
Along the lines of Rebels and the later Clone Wars stuff. Actually, I kind of like Clone Wars, the TV show.
Yeah.
I never saw the movie, but I didn't hear great things about it.
The movie was not great.
But no, like, I thought that stuff was like really on point.
It is really good.
It's weird to me that, like, I think about the Star Wars universe, and it's not like I'm like, oh, there's all these interesting stories I want to know more about. I'm not really interested in those. I'm interested in, like, good character drama that kind of takes place within there, but it's not like the universe itself's all that compelling to me.
But let me ask you this. What if they could do with Star Wars what they've done with Star Trek Discovery? They could do Prestige TV in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Because I think that's possible.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and I don't know what you do that. I mean, everybody's first suggestion is always, well, do the bounty hunters, do the stuff that's about the crime lords, and I think we're already going to get too much of that. Like, I feel like the Solo movie is going to do the casino heist type thing that I wanted them to do with Rogue One. Like, it's going to be the heist movie and the edgy movie. So I feel like there's other places to explore.
Rogue One was kind of a heist movie.
It was, but it was not the heist movie I wanted.
It was a heist movie that ends pretty bleakly.
Pretty badly. Yeah.
You know, I would love to see like the Jedi Council done right.
Yeah,
like the thing is, I feel like Knights of the Old Republic looks really cool, the games.
Yeah.
But when you think about the prequels, you're like, the thought of more than 2 or 3 people with a lightsaber at the same time just kind of makes it queasy.
Yeah.
But I feel like somebody needs to go back and do that better.
Yeah, I agree. Go back and show us the early days of the Jedi, but in a better way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that I'm stuck on this idea of like a Star Trek Discovery, but for Star Wars. I think it's possible, and I think it could be great.
Well, now I'm thinking of, like, what if there's this mysterious island where the Force comes out of, and people get trapped on this island, and they're lost there.
Grant, that's legitimately the plot. That's actually the plot of Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Luke was Locke Skywalker.
Can we see some animal nipples being milked?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, then I'm on board.
Every episode.
With that fucking movie. It's one of those movies I'm like, was it good? Or was it weird? There's some weird shit in there.
There was some weird shit in there. All right. Conan the Barbarian TV series is also in development on Amazon, which is interesting because I can imagine a great Conan show, and I can also imagine a terrible one.
Yeah.
But this is from the co-creator of The Colony on USA, which does not inspire confidence.
And Amazon, man,
I know.
I keep wanting them to be better than they are.
Yeah, that's where I am too. But Warren Littlefield is one of the producers, and he produced Fargo and The Handmaid's Tale.
Okay.
So that's promising, and also ran NBC during sort of a kind of a creative highlight for it. So
I never know what to make of producers, though.
yeah, you never know.
Like, you signed your name onto this because you believe in it, or because ka-ching? I don't know.
I'm with you though, Grant, on the Amazon. Like, Amazon really needs to get something better than what they never seem to quite get there. It's like, I wanted that to be better than it was.
Transparent season 1 was fantastic.
Marvel's Mrs. Maisel season 1 is fantastic.
The Tick season 1 was kind of fun.
It was all right.
It's all right.
Every season of the Grand Tour is amazing, but that's just Amazon knowing which pony to bet on.
Yeah. If we're gonna do that, we got credit for like Fleabag and Catastrophe, and neither one of those are both British shows. So
yeah.
What's our last story?
All right, our final story. HBO orders J.J. Abrams' sci-fi TV show Demimonde to series.
Oh, J.J. Abrams, huh?
Yep.
Now, do we like J.J. Abrams' TV?
I liked Alias.
Uh-huh. Is there any other ones that, like, he helped spearhead?
Well, he started off doing that show Undercovers.
No.
with that was not great, unfortunately. Is he doing a Mission Impossible for TV?
He was on VR5, right?
Yeah, VR5 was a J.J. Abrams
Was that
thing, right?
J.J.?
Yeah, that's J.J. Abrams.
You know what? I feel like JJ doesn't even get to take credit for Lost. Whatever.
No, that was Lindelof and Carlton Cuse. J.J. Abrams gets the credit for launching it, but
even Carlton Cuse doesn't really like. Carlton Cuse came in and helped start managing things later.
You think it's Lindelof's baby?
It's Lindelof, man. That guy is the vision. He's the end all be all. He's the alpha and omega. He is the island.
So Abrams knew which pony to bet on.
Yeah, he did.
At any rate, though, Abrams, apparently he's working on Castle Rock. His Bad Robot company is producing Castle Rock. He's also producing Lovecraft Country with Jordan Peele, which is on HBO. And I guess he's one of the producers on Westworld, it says here.
So it's just his name being lent to something else.
Yeah, this is an epic and intimate sci-fi fantasy drama, which I feel like is just someone using a word generator to make a pitch. It also, this is more specific. It focuses on the fight against a powerful adversary.
Does it really say that?
Yeah, it does.
Oh my gosh.
Whether the half-world will be the main location of the evil entity threatening reality is not yet known. So basically, here's what we know. Nothing. We know fucking nothing about this.
Well, it sounds like they're going to have bad guys, maybe good guys.
Yep.
Who knows? Good guys aren't for sure.
Something futuristic, maybe something fantasy.
Well, all I know is it's going to be epic and yet also intimate.
Speaking of epic and intimate, you guys should check out this next track from Cypher. His new album is called Alice. You can check it out on soundcloud.com/Cypher Music. And this next track is called Princess of Hearts.
Them being cool about it. Just lost Alice in a pool of chronic. Swimming with this bitch, she immune to silence. Telling me a plot, I'm providing balance. She got the ass and the looks. I got the bars and the hooks. Maxed on security, showing me a jewelry. Tits hanging out, girl, you don't know what you do to me. I'm the rookie in the air. Telling her value as I'm reaching for a beer. Telling her love is a better place. Giving space, everybody looking for a woman brace. That she looking at the ash from a cigarette. Watching it burn like the tears from a last regret. Thinking that any given Sunday, maybe on a Monday, it'll do me like a one-way. You're my everything and more.
All right, guys. So first off, we're going to start with some HBO shows, High Maintenance and Two Dope Queens. Then we're going to jump over to AP Bio and The Good Place. But first off, Kyle's Pick of the Week.
Pick of the week.
Yeah, this wasn't on the original list, but Kyle wrote us and begged us
There was some begging
to
involved.
watch High Maintenance, which Grant and I did not like season 1 of what we watched. I think we both watched an episode, maybe?
Yeah, we watched an episode. I wouldn't say I didn't hate it or anything. It's just I wasn't fully into it.
I wasn't into it.
I think this is a different kind of show, and for me it was really hard to figure out what was going on at first, because I think it is a mix between drama and comedy, but it's not a straight 50-50 swap. If anything, I think it leans more on the drama and kind of the introspective, portraits of, I don't know, millennials.
Yeah.
Were they millennials? There's a lot of older people in this.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. What would you? I guess the urban counterculture in New York City.
Generation X.
Yeah, there was definitely a Gen Xer in this episode you guys watched.
So, Kyle, I think the question we have for you is, how fucking high were you that you thought we would love this?
Okay. guys.
For real? No.
Okay.
No.
Here's
Same
where I
show.
thought the point of connection would be. This first episode, it takes place around an event. We don't know what this event is.
Yeah.
We just all know all the characters in the show have gotten some type of news, and it's very distressing. And I felt like it was very telling of kind of the what we witness our friends react to on our social media. We have these conversations about this stuff all the time. And when I saw this episode, I was like, oh, this is what we talk about on the show, on our Patreon episodes. This is what people do and how, everybody copes with it a little different. And yeah, no. And then it all kind of built up to this big payoff at the end with what I think was a pretty great incest joke. Is it technically incest?
What?
Did you guys not catch the
they
thing
were
with
brothers.
the threesome?
Yeah, that she found out they were brothers.
Spoilers.
She thought it was
Oh,
gross.
okay.
Yeah.
She's scrubbing herself down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got that. I mean, I am not as hard on this as Randy, I guess. But it wasn't necessarily I was like, oh, wow, that show's fantastic. I thought it does a pretty good job of weaving in these different stories. And it seems like that's their MO, right? They do this week to week.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
Every story kind of takes, almost like the Aziz Ansari standalone episodes, but that's just the premise of every episode.
I will say I did actually I'm exaggerating for comedic effect, but I did actually like this episode better than the first one I watched, but I definitely didn't plug into it on the same level that I think you do, but I did like the poor guy who was just trying to post about his weight loss on the day when anything he says is going to be viewed as, why are you talking about this today? And I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was
funny and sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I liked about that was it felt so real to me, you know, because it's like that was probably the day he needed that boost to keep going. Like he had done so good.
Yeah.
But instead, everybody else, like the whole world was just falling apart.
Yeah.
So it's like, you deserve a cookie. Just get a cookie.
And a hamburger. So you can just fuck it.
Yeah.
Life's over.
Yeah. It was. I thought this one weaved the stories together better than the first episode did. I thought I did a better job with it. But the problem is, the central character, or at least our narrator, I am not interested in his story at all.
Yeah. Well, he's
What's
not
his
really
name? The guy.
the guy. He's just the guy. He's not really. I mean, even though the show revolves around him, he's more the conduit. He's not really the electricity that's going through it. He's not what we should be shocked by. He's just the thing that connects all of these characters.
Yeah, it feels more like an anthology to me now, and I finally get that. And so it's one of those things where if I didn't have so much TV to watch, I'd probably go back through it, but it didn't quite connect with me on that level.
Yeah.
I didn't catch the incest thing. Apparently I wasn't watching closely enough at that point.
Well, no, I watched this twice because after you guys said you'd watch it, I was like, all right, I got to double check that this doesn't suck. But the second time I was like, oh, that incest joke, like you got to be paying attention.
Yeah, I was not. I didn't catch it.
And then the whole closing credits is just her scrubbing herself down the shower because she spent an entire day in a hotel room with these two hot guys who she thought she was just having great sex with. Turns out they're brothers and jerking off to each other.
That's not her problem. No, and I liked the sort of bit with the balloon at the end. I thought that was kind of a Louis-esque moment. You know, the good Louis, not jerking off in front of people Louis.
It's funny. I thought that too. It was like, can I compare it to Louis, or do I sound like a sleazeball?
It's like when we used to say that Louis stuff was like, it's got the quality of like Woody Allen movies, but not in that way. But it turns out it wasn't that way.
Yeah, I thought this was it had a charm to it, but it's not fully for me. I think on a week to week basis.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It didn't quite grab me, but I did like it better than I liked the first time I watched it. So I can sort of see where, and I do love the idea of sort of the anthology of following other characters and that kind of thing. And we've seen that in some other shows that I really like. So I could see it grabbing me if I had a light week or something.
Yeah. You know what I think it is though? I think that the New York charm, the New York mystique is a little bit more lost on me. I'm a little bit more jaded toward this New Yorkers loving themselves and always putting themselves as the central figures of stories. I'm just like, okay, you got a lot of quirky people in a city. I don't know.
You need an anthology set in Poughkeepsie or Walla Walla.
The Ozarks.
I don't know. I'm just a little bit over it at this point. I feel like a show like Girls really helped kill it for me. Girls and Sex in the City, and just like
it's funny you said that because I feel like I watched those shows and I connected with something, but I was like, I'm not a big fan of these shows, but there's something. And this is the show where it's like, oh, that's what I liked. I like this portrait of New York, kind of told in this exaggerated way. And I wish those shows could have been more like this.
I mean, it feels like the movie Half Baked with.
It does not feel like that.
Yeah, it does. You remember?
Okay, that was total stick.
He goes and he hits up all these different characters who all have their different weed things.
Yeah, and he has to work 2 jobs to support his kid and go on 5 trains with a balloon and, have a very touching moment.
It's like they took Half Baked and then they fully baked it into something a little bit more
and they mixed
artistic.
it with August Rush.
Okay, well.
Which would make a cool name for a strain of weed, August Rush.
That's pretty great. So, also debuting on HBO, Two Dope Queens, which is based off of the podcast with Phoebe
Robinson.
Phoebe Robinson and Jessica Williams.
Phoebe Robinson and Jessica Williams. And this is a live show that they do. Different theaters. I imagine, like as it goes along, it's not just going to be at the same theater, but it might just all be.
That's what it sounds like.
The first episode is called New York, so I assume the later ones will not also be in the same theater.
Yeah, and this one features them doing their a live version of their show where they bring on Jon Stewart to interview him. In front of a huge audience. What do you guys think?
I want to like Two Dope Queens more than I actually like Two Dope Queens.
Well, I agree with you, and I think that. They aren't off to a strong start. but they're not off to a terrible start either.
It was fun. Like there's some
Yeah.
really genuine moments with Jon Stewart, especially like the pizza thing was hilarious.
Yeah, and I think if you make it to the end of the episode, Baron Vaughn kills it. Like,
Yeah.
I think he was definitely the highlight. But I found myself comparing this not to the podcast, which I admittedly haven't listened to, but comparing it to like Premium Blend and some of the other,
Stand-up shows.
Yeah, personality hosted stand-up shows.
I was thinking of David Letterman, rather.
Yeah.
His recent one on Netflix.
Yeah, although that's an unfair standard to hold. These are two like 20 or 30 something women at the beginning of their career. That's an unfair standard to hold them to.
Yeah. I didn't get to see all of this. In fact, I only saw maybe the first like 5-10 minutes. Before, I haven't gotten around to seeing the rest of it. I thought there were some funny parts. The skit in the beginning was kind of terrible and threw me off from the rest of this. And I was like, why did they do that? That wasn't a funny skit. And then it just felt like there's a lot of self-congratulation going on.
I was going to say,
that I'm like, hold up. Like, get to a point where I'm like excited to hear things, because for a big part of your audience, this is going to be a new thing for them.
I agree.
There was one point where they said, and we are two dope queens. And I looked at Shannon and I said, this show has more introductions than a DJ Khaled song. Because it was like the sixth time somebody had said, now, welcome, the da-da-da.
And it just like kept going and like, we deserve this. We earned this. I'm like, well, show me, don't tell me.
Yeah, I like everybody involved in this. I like the is it Michelle Buttoni, whoever they brought.
The first comedian?
Yeah, I like her. She's
great, yeah.
I saw her live, I think, at Moon Tower, maybe. And I think I saw Two Dope Queens at Moon Tower. Like, I like everyone in the show. But yeah, it felt really self-indulgent. It's like, hey, look at us. We got an HBO show, and we're just going to get up on stage and fuck around. And I was like, you guys, did you script this at all? Like, did you plan out maybe? Because it feels like...
they did. Because a couple of their jokes felt like very scripted.
Yeah.
I'm like, that doesn't even feel natural.
I just felt like I was watching a couple buddies screw around. And that's the TV dudes market. Don't step on our market.
Oh, yeah, for real. Well, and it is a show based off a podcast, so I mean, this is kind of what happens when you turn a podcast into a TV show.
So what we're
They
saying
are
is
a lot better than us.
what we're saying is HBO should not turn the TV dudes into a show.
Wait a second, we got to turn this around. That's the opposite of what we're trying to say.
Oh God, it all was so
Well, no, we're going to do a
south.
show. We're going to do a fictionalized version of us.
I think here's the thing: when I look at the show, not only do I like the people involved, I like watching them on stage. Like, I don't find the joke as funny as maybe the audience does, but I still like them there.
Yeah.
And this definitely, you can't do each episode like this.
Yeah.
So if we get to the second episode and it's still, like hand jobs all around, like, it's not going to work as a show.
Hand jobs all around is also a good name for weed.
That would make a great
Yeah.
August Rush.
On that note, let's jump over to AP Bio, the new Glenn Howerton comedy that's on NBC. He stars as a disgraced Harvard professor who is relegated to teaching AP Bio, which is not even his field of expertise.
No, he's a poetry or philosophy professor.
Philosophy, yeah. And he's asked to teach this in a high school in, is it Topeka or something?
I don't remember.
No, it's somewhere in Ohio.
Yeah.
Anyway, Toledo.
Yep.
Toledo. So the first 3 episodes are out. Did you guys watch all 3?
I did. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you guys this.
Okay. that's always a sign.
You know, a Pacific Rim fan. And I really like Charlie Day. Mm-hmm. Charlie Day's in Pacific Rim. And I think he's great in that. But at no point did I buy that this guy was a brilliant scientist. That is how I feel about Glenn Howerton playing essentially Dennis as a ex-Harvard. There was no point at which I was like, that dude was never a Harvard professor.
That guy has the dedication that would have allowed him in some way to be smart enough to have that degree.
Here's the thing. Okay, I disagree with you.
Really?
So the Dennis character, which I kept calling him Dennis in my head. I'm like, Dennis, why'd you do this to?
Yeah.
But like the Dennis character, all right? His ego stems from his libido. He's hooked up with a lot of chicks. He's got a lot of tapes of his ball angle. Like, that is like where his ego comes from.
Angle.
There you go, deep cut. Anyways, this character, like, he gets shut down in that first episode. I honestly feel like he has that exact same ego. It's identical, but it doesn't come from that. Like, I think it comes from he's just a smartass, too smart for his own good. Like he's read too much of the same shit. Like there's a instance where one of the girls, she has a name that's kind of hard to pronounce, and he's like, "What's that name?" And you can tell he's like interested by it because it reminds him of like anytime he starts thinking of philosophy, he starts going, and I'm like, "Oh, you're no longer Dennis. You're like this other character."
So you feel like we're seeing him in his slumming mode, like he just won't put the effort in to be himself.
Yeah,
Okay.
It definitely feels like the character is just so put down by being relegated to this position that he's just sulking the whole time and he's just lashing out at everyone.
Can I bring up one of my favorite parts of this character?
Yeah.
The white bag, the prop.
That he just throws on the table.
Yeah, he always has like a convenience store bag full of like a drink and some potato chips. Like the most, I just showed up, like I'm not prepared. I'm half-assing this, like, but he has this white bag, and I'm like, that is so brilliant. Like in every scene,
and he always has an apple that
And
just
throws it, just throws it on the floor. Yeah.
I thought the first episode was not that great, but I thought that it established the characters pretty well. Like his relationship with Patton Oswalt, I appreciate. And even though it's inescapable that this is Dennis Reynolds just now teaching high school, and in a way it feels the same as, like you were saying earlier, Caitlin Olsen is the same character basically as Dee Reynolds in The Mick.
Yeah.
And Charlie Day is a little bit one note. Rob McElhenney, he was a little bit of a different character, slightly in like Lost when he did a cameo.
You got to bring it back to Lost.
Got to bring it back.
All right,
but not much. Yeah, these guys are selling their characters from other shows to just be on, get bigger bucks, I guess, on network.
You know what?
That's fine.
Well, here's what I've learned from watching AP Bio, which is he can lead a show by himself. Like he doesn't need everybody else. Like I feel like Always Sunny is fantastic, but I'm like, oh my gosh, The Mick is great.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this. Like I feel like all of these guys, they have that like front man capacity. So what happens when you stick them with 20 teenage looking actors?
Yeah, and that is something I think that the kid actors are pretty solid, especially in that, like we were talking before the
third episode. They get really good.
Yeah, I agree.
They start showing a lot more heart. They take a much more active role in it, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting a sense of what the different characters can bring to the table. There's a kid who talks about how he can't turn his neck, and it's like, no, you got to do better in your job interview. You got to lie. He's like, I can totally turn my neck.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I'll turn my neck as much as I want.
There's some funny stuff.
I
think this, it's not quite working for me yet, but I can see where it could. I can't help comparing it to The Mick, where I watched the first episode and I was like, oh, this is okay. And then by like episode 3 or 4, I was completely in love with it. And I'm not there with AP Bio yet.
The second episode guest starred Niecy Nash and her as the union rep for teachers, and how fiercely she goes after Patton Oswalt's character was just brilliant. I loved everything she was like showing in the photos and just tearing into him, and he's like just being destroyed.
By the way, that's somebody who could front her show.
Niecy Nash, she does Claws, right?
Oh, that's right.
She does Clean House.
Oh, she does clean it. She fronts a couple shows.
Yeah, but I wanted to front a really good show.
I heard Claws is pretty good. I just haven't checked it out.
Yeah, I don't know. The premise does not interest me.
You don't like nail salons?
I've noticed it in a nail salon show. I'm a little crazy that way.
Yeah, but you love meth.
I do love meth.
So
the meth and the serial killer show, they both worked. But
I do love meth and killing people repeatedly.
And you love rich people taking on or poor people like living in rich houses.
I
like
do love
Mick.
that. Yes.
You like suburban pothead weed dealers, just not New York City weed dealers.
Who are the suburban pot dealers?
Weeds.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Point made, gentlemen. Point made.
Okay, as long as you backed off. Now you have to watch Claws.
What? No. I'm watching Claws and Inhumans? What the hell?
You have to watch all Inhumans.
Yeah, it just seems that the show is getting better and better each week. So I'm thinking by episode 18, it'll be a good show. No, I'm kidding. I actually am kind of enjoying it. Like once I finish that third episode, I'm like, I could go again and watch another.
I'll stick with that. I got room for a half-hour comedy in my life.
You know what? High Maintenance is a half an hour. I'm not even going to talk about that.
I said comedy.
I loved in the first episode, there was 2 scenes where I feel like they nailed what I want from the show. The first one was when he starts writing on the chalkboard, where he's like, "This will not be an I secretly teach you thing. This will not be a you teach me things. I'm way smarter than all of you. How could you teach me anything?" And then the other one was when they go to do the rap. And he's like, "Stop! No, no!
Oh man,
yeah,
the kid with the saxophone. He's like, "You were gonna no."
He looks at that girl. "Oh, you were gonna make it rain, weren't you?"
That was one of the better moments. That was really good.
Yeah, just getting a sense of all the kids and like the tough kid, and he's like interested in this super nerdy girl.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I think the show will work if they don't make the main character a dick. Like Always Sunny.
Yeah, they're showing glimmers of him having a bit of compassion and like he's fighting against it.
Yeah.
But I think that they'll find more strength if they lean a little bit more into it having a slightly wholesome element to it. Kind of like the begrudging love that the Mick that she shows for her students.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they can't all just be feel-good shows like The Good Place, which is how we're going to transition over talking about The Good Place.
Yeah.
Because this one wrapped up its second season, and I can't say that I predicted it was going to go this way.
Nope.
Yeah, that was definitely... Which, it's funny, because every time something new like this happens, you look back and go, oh, well, yeah.
It makes sense. It all makes sense, but you never would have guessed
see it coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to go into spoilers here, so if you guys want to go ahead and stop the episode
We already
here.
spoiled High Maintenance for them. They've already tuned out.
They're mad because,
Worst episode ever.
All I'll say is, if you guys haven't watched The Good Place yet, go watch that immediately before we spoil anything, because this one is one of the best shows on TV right now, and it might be one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Wow.
I might be bold enough to say this is my top 10 shows I've ever seen.
Where does it compare to Lost?
It's under it, but not far.
You saw the article, right?
I was like, before or after you read that article, which I did get through it.
Which article?
Mike Schur and Damon Lindelof have kind of a bromance going.
Oh, yeah. I knew about that a while ago.
The Good Place is heavily influenced by Lost in some ways.
By Damon Lindelof. He gave him pointers and like steered him toward like how he handles a lot of the mysterious aspects.
Yeah, it's so you can almost say Good Place is like Lost done right.
Well, he did in that article say...
I was like, do I jump over the table and start choking Randy? Do I?
Well, no, I know you're trying to...
claws. That was Niecy Nash in it.
Randy is just trying to get Grant riled up, but I think the point that he's making is, in that article he said,
how dare you.
Here's what you don't do. Like, here's what, if I could go back and change it, I would have done this differently. And I'm like, so Mike Schur is creating the mystical aspects with like, all the information and all of the trials and tribulations from, Lost and these other projects.
And there's Easter eggs to Lost in there. Like he loves the show. And yeah, you can see that they're talking about, I mean, some of the elements of what Lost did, which was asking, what people are like when they're thrown into these extraordinary situations with the supernatural overtones. It's still about how people interact with one another, and that's what The Good Place is all about. It's also hilariously funny.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that it would be good, even if this was just asking the philosophical questions, and like if this was a drama examining the same type of story, it'd still be good. But the fact that it's laugh out loud funny on top of everything else is what sort of puts that cherry on top.
Yeah.
So we started out the beginning of this season talking about where we thought this show might go in this season. I don't fully recall where we landed, but I think our speculation circulated around the fact that they were going to be found out, that not only are they in the bad place, but they might somehow try and make the bad place into a good place where they could all thrive.
Or they might try to go to the good place, which they kind of did.
They might try to go, and then what would that be like?
We thought they were going to go to the bad place, and we would get to see like the full-out bad place, and we didn't even really get to see that.
So I don't remember
the tiniest sliver of the bad place.
I don't remember exactly what I said, but I think what I said is that probably there'd be a final episode where Ted Danson got back behind the bar again, and that it was that they decided to send them back in sort of a loop of their own existence, and they would see if the them being good people was something they would actually take. And I feel like I was pretty close.
Like you should have a portrait right next to that dude in the office.
Yeah, exactly.
Randy, the TV dude who figured it out.
Nobody go back and listen, because I'm pretty sure that's how I said. That's pretty sure that's what I said.
You just take our word for it.
Yeah, seeing Ted Danson behind a bar.
That was so good.
That was pretty adorable. Like, I mean, I love that show, Becker. That was what that was, right?
Where do you rank Becker in comparison to Lost?
Oh, it's higher than it's one of the best shows I've ever seen. Becker, man. But I just really didn't anticipate that they were going to descend into the bad place and use that as a nexus into this judgment neutral zone.
Yeah.
That was going to be helmed by what's the actress's name?
Maya Rudolph.
Maya Rudolph.
She's so good here.
She killed it, yeah.
Yeah, she's so good as this sort of omnipotent judge who's also just kind of casual about the whole thing.
She just likes eating Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, she goes and quizzes Jason, and like he immediately just goes, oh, "Shut up! I'm going to play this."
Yep.
It's just like, no, Jason didn't improve at all. But they've shown such character growth, especially in the Eleanor character. That like I buy it that she goes there and she struggles and she has her ups and downs in trying to be a better person, and then the little push she gets in order to reunite her with Chidi in the real world.
Yeah.
So good.
It was really good.
Part of the episode that broke my heart was you get really excited because she's thrown back in the loop, and then you see her like start to be good.
Yeah.
The point where she loses it, where she's like, "Fuck this!
Why am I being good?" It's not.
Yeah, like this makes no sense." And I'm like, "That's my life." You know? Like that's everybody's life.
Yeah,
it's like that. Just felt like the most realist part of both of these seasons was that moment. Like, yeah, that's what you talk about philosophy and you try to cram in all this, but at the end of the day, like that's what you're trying to explain to people. Like, yeah, it kind of sucks being good. But it's
hard work.
Yeah, like.
By the way, I'm just glad they brought back her boss from the legal telemarketing company. That guy is so carelessly sleazy. I love everything they do with him.
He's like one of those Todd Packer.
Yeah. Oh man, he's great. It was so much fun. I forget what the second job she winds up working is with him. But it's somehow worse than selling fake medicine to old people.
Some crazy Ponzi scheme within a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, it's so bad.
It's a pyramid scheme within a pyramid scheme.
Yeah. But yeah, I and then I really like that we saw some real growth from Eleanor. I mean, Kristen Bell's amazing. Mm-hmm. But the previous episode where she basically acts like she failed the test because she just wanted to feel bad that she could have gone to the good place without them. Like she's going to the bad place because she wants to be with her friends, and she could have taken the other option. That's a huge thing. And then seeing her like get a little hint of Chidi and decide to fly to Australia to hear more from him. That's something we never would have seen from early Eleanor.
Yeah.
With this third season, then we have a situation where our four main characters are on Earth. They're alive again.
Yeah.
And as we know, this exists in the same universe as Parks and Rec. So part of me wonders if we're going to see any Easter eggs that indicate where the world is at in the Parks and Rec world.
I can see that.
Does this also exist in the Office world, which would make Rashida Jones' character a little weird, but maybe. But also, are we going to have them live very long in this life? Is there going to be a whole season of them alive, or because it's probably not, right?
It's going to be less than an episode.
Yeah, I mean they'll find something. Well, this is like the Sideways universe in Lost, so maybe that's what it is. It's a Sideways universe.
I still think that the good place is going to be the original place that Michael built, but he's going to fill it with these people that were close to redemption.
Yeah.
And those four are going to get to be there with each other and others that they love who aren't necessarily just like quite good enough, but they're not,
I think season 3 is going to involve them making like a big harvest festival that's going to save the funding for
Little
the good
Sebastian!
place. Little Sebastian will be there. Little Sebastian, I'm sorry, people did go to the bad place. He was the most adorable horse, but you know what? Super racist.
All right, let's just go ahead and end it there, Randy. Folks, thank you for tuning in to this week's TV Dudes. And next week, we're going to be talking about Altered Carbon. I know some people were curious when we're going to finally hit that one.
We needed time to binge it.
But that's not our only announcement about next week, because next week, we're going to try and do a live show. So what this means is that if you guys can tune in, I believe we're recording on Tuesday.
Tuesday night at 9:30 Central Time.
Tuesday night, 9:30. We'll probably not start until 9:45.
Right.
Or 10.
Right.
Depends on how long.
Yeah,
the
9:30 start time. We got to get setting up at 9.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we may be closer to 10.
So I think we're going to aim for starting at 10 Tuesday night. Come check us out. We're going to be sending a link on our Facebook page, but you can also go to our YouTube page and watch us live as we struggle through this little experiment of doing our show live. We're going to have a little bit of visuals. You guys can look at us and
judge us harshly.
Judge us for our terrible facial hair.
It's gonna be a disaster. You guys are gonna love it.
I don't know. I think it'll be interesting because hopefully you guys will also be able to comment and we can interact with you guys live as we're doing the show. So that could be fun. And if 1 or 2 people show up, that will be a success.
And if nobody shows up, I'm going to pretend I'm talking to people.
Randy's going to log in with his account. And comment.
Totally. Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to get the bots on you.
Landy Rander says. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you all, and we will be back next week live. Until then,
TV Dudes out.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Permanent Record Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, please go to patreon.com/TVDudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter at TV Dudes, and help us out on iTunes by giving us a 5-star rating and writing a review. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and permanentrcrd.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.